Everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to address the market once again. Today was a pretty volatile day, which is good. We want volatility in the market. We're going to talk about what to expect for tomorrow. I'm also going to be sharing with y'all some stocks that I'm keeping on my watch list and why y'all should keep it on your watch list as well, along with an update on the stocks that I've mentioned in the last video. Alright, y'all. Now, before we begin again, do not forget to annihilate that like button on the way in. All right, so let's get started right off the bat. We have the VIX, right? No, we have the SPY. We have the SPY. I'm changing it to the SPY right now because something interesting happened. Let's look at the 5-minute. So yesterday, I told you guys that there was going to be, I expected a morning spike. I expected a morning move, because there was some structures that look really good for a potential long, and also the SPY was out of this channel right here. So this move was expected, and it was very profitable for longs, but it didn't last for too long. It gave an opportunity for both the bulls in the morning, and then it consolidated like midday, and then it gave an opportunity for the bears during the remaining half of the day. All right, now what does this mean for the overall market? What could we expect? Well, there's two ways that I see this thing. No, actually no, there's three ways. Obviously the first one is we chop over here and we go nowhere until like Friday before we potentially collapse right through. All right, and the second way that I see this is if we actually bounce and try to retest this previous high right there, which I don't think is likely. And we're going to look at the NASDAQ because the NASDAQ is a little bit more clear. If you look at the NASDAQ and you zoom out, the NASDAQ moved up. It spiked to a previous level of, it's more like a zone really, to a previous level of support, which became resistance, and it got rejected quite heavily. This is not a good sign. All right, this is really not good. And if it keeps going, if it keeps trading like this and going sideways like that and showing weakness, and the volume also looking at the bottom is decreasing like this, right? So if tomorrow the volume only goes up to around 50 million, the highest bar on this time frame, if it goes up to only 60 million and like 50 million, then eventually this thing is gonna roll over again. All right, it happened before and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens again. So that's with the NASDAQ. Now, another reason why I think this pathway right here, which I drew on the SPY, is more likely to happen is, what if I'm wrong on the VIX, right? What if my perspective on the VIX was a little too early? So let's check that out really quick. So with the VIX, we have this thing, right? And I drew this last week before the unemployment data came out, and then we had this result right here. Now, given the fact that we had this type of volatility this week, what if we get rid of all of this? And what if we zoom out on a 4-hour? Then things starts to get kind of interesting, right? I think I was looking a little bit too closely with the VIX, and it's still cooking. I think it's still going sideways, and eventually it's going to pop out. Like this line of resistance right here, I'm waiting for that thing to get breached. I think if it gets breached and that alert right here at 23 rings, then there could be a lot of terror and a lot of panic with the indices. I think, again, I'm just sharing my very honest thoughts and opinions based off of what I see with these charts. But you have to be very patient and you have to wait for them to pretty much align, and it will be very obvious when that time comes, but you do have to be very patient. All right, now the stock, one stock that I want to share with y'all in today's video, which may make a massive move tomorrow after today's rejection. That stock is Amazon. All right, now Amazon, the reason why I want to share this one in today's video, number one, it got rejected today, but it got rejected for a specific reason. If you look closely, there is that level of resistance from this date right here, November 7th and December 12th, and today, which is January 9th. All right, so it got rejected 3 times, which is not which is not a really good sign, right? So I expect this thing to just, again, if the market drops slightly, I expect this thing to go all the way down to around 85.50. And then it might have another bounce on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I think it's going to collapse down to like 82 bucks. I think. That's what I'm seeing right now. That's the only thing that would make sense to me. And that would make this chart look really, really clean for maybe another run later on, right? Maybe. But for now, I just see this thing. So watch Amazon for that potential move. Now, the next stock that I want to share with y'all that I'm keeping on my watch list is Ford. All right. Now, Ford had a massive move since these lows. And the reason why this happened was simply because of the 1 hour. If you look at the 1 hour, there's a falling wedge on the charts. And it broke out on Thursday during that week. During the last week of 2022, that Thursday. And it just kept going upwards and upwards and upwards and upwards. And right now it's at a level of resistance. Kind of like what the NASDAQ, kind of like the way the NASDAQ looks. But this one is much cleaner because it's at the line. It's like right on the line, right? It's not like a big zone where you can expect a rejection, but you don't really know exactly which price is gonna reject. Like this one is very, very clean. Like it's on a dot, $13, and it got to 13 and then they got rejected. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing pull back all the way down to 12. I don't know how fast this drop is going to happen again. So it really depends on how much time that the indices want to waste before we see a potential pullback. So that's my thoughts on Amazon and Ford. Now let's do some updates on the stocks that I've mentioned in the last video. And if you haven't watched the last video, I'm gonna pin the video at the top of the video, somewhere around over here. That way y'all can go watch it. I gave you 3 stocks to watch for today specifically, not this week, just today. All right, and the first one was Meta, which I bought. I had calls on Meta, and I got rid of Meta because it did 2 things. The first thing is I expected a move all the way up to 135, but the reason why I had to get rid of it so quickly, again, this is the trade on Meta, right? And today at 4 minutes after the market opened, I started selling. I started unloading. And the reason why I did that is because Meta isn't a stock that it's because it moved too fast too quickly. Like it jumped by 3 points in 5 minutes. And when I see these things like that, like it's very important to take advantage of that move. Like the contracts that I was in was immediately up by 60%. And the details of that contract is right here. This is the chart of the contract. We bought it over here, 200 each, right? And then this thing immediately spikes like that. It's like when I see this, I sell. I start selling immediately. I don't wait too long. Like if the first candle is kind of smallish, then yeah, I'll be patient, right? Because I know that will be a bigger move later. But when this happens, again, if you see money, just take the money. All right? If you see money, you take money. So that's what we did. So I started selling over here, and then when it started going choppy like this, and when Meta was going sideways like that, I was looking at the SPY. I was looking at the SPY to see exactly where it would roll over. And looking at the SPY, it started going sideways at around 912 right here. And I thought this was the high of day at that point where we will see this thing just go sideways. So I just got rid of all of Meta, right? And ultimately, later that day, it turned out to be a good decision because the market rolled over and also Meta rolled over, right? It rolled over after breaking through this previous level of supports. It broke right through in the afternoon. And those contracts look to all of their value. Like, where is Meta gonna go next? Or how long is it going to take to get up here? I don't know. I don't know. Again, my job is to find the opportunities. And if it moves too quickly, I take the money. If it moves slowly and maturely and gets somewhere nicely, then yeah, we can hold and wait and then collect later. But this one just moved way too fast. It wasn't like the SPY. It wasn't like QQQ. It wasn't even like a stock that we were watching this morning. I'm gonna show you. Like pre-market, the one that behaved the best was NVIDIA. NVIDIA had this structure right here. This was a very clean bull flag, right? And when I see this, I immediately know that it's gonna go up to 158, like immediately. And that's what it did that entire day. It just kept going up and up and up, and it spiked. You know, again, it spiked in. The first candle is kind of small and then it immediately went through. This is what I was hoping for with Meta, but it just went up way too fast. Way too fast. All right. So that's why I got rid of Meta. Now, the next stock that I told y'all to keep in your watch list was CCL. All right. Now with CCL, congratulations to anybody who made money on this one. It was very simple. Again, I told y'all to watch it for a move all the way up to exactly $10, and it went up to $9.62. The contracts were up, I think, by 50%, maybe by 60% at the highest points. Could it go higher? Maybe it might do its own individual thing and not follow the SPY. Like, maybe it could go up there. All right, I'm not too sure. I just thought that it could get to $10 today. And the fact that it's being sort of kind of slow, I mean, it really depends. Like, I don't know. It made money, all right? It made money. So congrats to anybody who took this trade. And the last stock that I told y'all to keep in your watches for a long was Oxy. And Oxy did really well. Like, I told you guys that it would. I shared the reason why it was going to jump. Again, the morning star was clean, and I told you watch it for it move up to 67 today. And it went all the way up to 66.58 in the morning. And this is where you take all of your money and leave the stock alone, right? That's not the point where you want to be greedy, especially when you look at everything else and what else is happening in the indices and the other sectors. All right, so that's the update on all of these stocks, and that is pretty much the end of the video. Again, do not forget to annihilate the like button for the YouTube algorithm. As always, helps the channel a lot and allows more people to get this knowledge as well. Also, if you are new to the channel and you haven't done so already, definitely click on subscribe and click on the notification bell along with notifications, so that way you don't miss out on future uploads. If you'd like to be part of a private Discord community where you can get all of this information in real time as I see them, you can find that as the first link in the description of the video below. If you haven't added me on social media yet, you can find me at NGumah and PATTERNOLOGY LAB on Instagram and on Twitter. And lastly, if all of this is brand new to you, if you're interested in getting started in the stock market, there's some basic step-by-step directions in the description of the video below. Step 1 to step 3, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes for you to have all the tools you need to start trading immediately. You can also get some free stocks after signing up with Webull using the third link in the description of the video below. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is NGumah with PATTERNOLOGY LAB, where we trade patterns only, and I will see all of you in the next video.